Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
That almost sounded like Yennefer.
I'm Yennefer.
Yennefer. We are recording this just a few days before something called WitcherCon, which Netflix is putting on. It's just going to be, it's an online thing. We can't go there. Much like all the other cons from the last 2 years. But there should be some Witcher news and previews and stuff coming out. I hope we can talk about those soon. But we're not going to be able to watch that stuff on the date. I believe it's July 9th, which puts us on a Friday, the Friday that I have tons of family coming into town. My little boy.
Are they recording it?
Yeah. Well, it should be on YouTube.
Well, then we can watch Netflix. It later.
Yeah, of course.
We'll stay up late.
My boy's going to have his bar mitzvah. He's becoming a man. Or at least a Jewish man of sorts. A manlet.
Sometimes they should just wait until they're actually the age before calling somebody a man. Like, let them mature into being a man.
Do you know why we can't do that?
No.
Tradition! Mm-hmm. No one else can see, but I have my arms raised up in the air right now, like Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof.
Yep. He
Yep.
sure does. He actually did.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably tell by the tone of his voice.
Tradition! Yeah, I couldn't make that noise if I didn't raise my arms at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we might not be back for a couple weeks. I've got family sticking around after this, so I wanted to make sure we finished.
Well, a couple weeks is early for us. That's awesome.
Depending. Look, we used to be a weekly show. Maybe someday when Game of Thrones returns, we will be again.
Or if we got paid.
Or if we got paid.
That requires quit our real jobs.
That requires a lot of background work that I am just not capable of. You're a marketing person. You could.
I don't market this kind of stuff.
You could learn. You're smart.
Who do I learn this from?
You're smart. You know things.
Another podcaster, I suppose, but who wants to teach me that?
There's lots of resources out there, I'm sure. But yeah, we will definitely not be recording anything next weekend. So, but I want to make sure that we finished Handmaid's Tale, for God's sakes. We came so close to the end, and then we recorded too long, so we never talked about the last episode.
Yeah, I remember I was tired. Everybody could probably tell.
We'd already passed an hour because we were talking about Game of Thrones headlines so long.
Oh my God. Okay, let's just get it started so that we don't do this again.
Okay. Well, I don't think these Game of Thrones headlines from the last week are going to be anything to talk about for extended periods of time. Okay. The first one, it's another one of those headlines that you have to click on, but there's really no meat.
I love it. I love it when they do that. We should just write those articles. Write nothing all the time.
Put that shit on potofthrones.com. We still get hits, mostly for our Impractical Jokers coverage.
You just need a fancy headline, and then when they pop open the article, it'll say, nothing happened. Thanks for your click.
That sounds like an amazing idea for our website. Add that to our website. Okay. Let's get us the hits.
Okay. We'll put on funny headlines all the time.
Nothing really happened. Now here's an ad.
Yeah. I could do that.
We can do that with videos too on YouTube. You watch like a 30-second ad, and then it's just you standing there like, yeah, so this whole thing about Game of Thrones prequel coming early? Nah, not really.
It's all a lie.
But thanks for clicking. Because here's what it was. Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, might arrive sooner than expected.
Oh, I saw that, and I didn't click it because I knew it was going to be nothing.
I almost feel like I already read this article once, but like 2 weeks ago, but so there's just one quote in all this about George R.R. Martin saying something at Northwestern University. Now I'm developing more shows for HBO. We have a new show, House of the Dragon, that's coming down the pike, filming right now over in London and Cornwall over in England. It'll probably be next spring, I guess, but then I'm developing other shows for them.
Well, at least we know where they're filming. That's news.
I think they're also filming a lot in Spain.
I did hear that at the beginning, yes.
A lot of Spanish landscapes and architecture.
Can I go be a grip or something?
You want to go to Spain?
Yes.
I'll take you to Spain. We can go to Barcelona.
Okay, let's go to Barcelona.
That's the one I took a trip to Spain in high school. Mm-hmm. And that was the one major city that we never went to. And I was all excited about it because we had just watched the Barcelona Olympics.
Right, I remember that.
And I watched a lot of that shit. And they would take you on tours around the city, and I knew about some of the major buildings, and and it was like we didn't get to go there. Barcelona? I don't think so.
I feel like there was like a small bombing or something.
No, that was Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
That was big shock. That happened in America because of course it did.
Well, it happens in other countries too. I mean, it does. I guarantee it.
Not for shit like this. Not during an Olympics.
It shouldn't happen in America.
Look, it shouldn't happen anywhere. But if it's going to happen, if crazy people are going to try to bomb an international fucking collection and festival and celebration, it's going to happen in America.
No, it'll happen everywhere.
Well, we'll see.
Stop being a hater. America just happened. We just had its birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to America.
Come on.
Now.
It's
what?
People like you that make the crazies go crazy.
What? Wait, am I spreading conspiracy theories?
No, only in Barcelona. Okay, let's not get off track.
Anyway, I didn't get to go there. But if you want to go to Spain, we'll have to plan that trip. Okay. Anyway, that's it. So he was indicating that he thinks House of the Dragon will be out in the spring, which still puts it, 8 months away?
That's not bad.
All right.
I mean, I can live with that. At least it's not 2 years.
We still have a few shows to watch before we have time to watch some of these shows. So that's the update there. Then there was another similar headline called Game of Thrones spinoffs. HBO boss teases interesting plans after House of the Dragon.
I mean...
So this was Casey Bloys, HBO content chief, and he was speaking at a press event at Warner Media headquarters, and he said the following: any script that is development or script that is pitched becomes news, and it invariably gets reported, and people assume they are in production. Well, that's what happened with the last Game of Thrones series, I guess. It appears a number of writers and producers have ideas for continuing. Oh, that's not his quote. Wait, what? Well, never mind. He didn't actually say anything. Fuck you. Wait, here we go. He said, only House of the Dragon is in production. The rest is in development, and we will make a decision. I didn't read this carefully enough the first time around.
That wasn't newsworthy.
He didn't say anything.
See?
He didn't say anything.
It's just a bunch of words.
God damn it. Motherfuckers. I should just cut this out. It's not even a real headline. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm too lazy to cut this out. And then the final one that actually will...
Okay, go.
Has some heart to it. Game of Thrones, Nathalie Emmanuel reflects on backlash to Missandei's death.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Because people weren't happy. I mean, I wasn't happy, but maybe for different reasons.
She had already talked about this a long time ago.
Well, should I just skip it then?
No,
Did we ever talk about
quick.
it? This was published 4 days ago.
Brief.
I just want to read her quote.
Brief.
Jesus Christ. She said, when I learned that Missandei was going to die, I knew that as the only woman of color on the show, I knew that people would feel her loss, like the loss of her, because she's also just like a really kind, good character. But she said she did not foresee the size of the reaction that happened. So I had never thought of it in those terms. I was just pissed because she was a cool character. But
I can see that now.
Game of Thrones took a lot of shit for being very white. And then, of course, there's all sorts of ways you can take that conversation of like, well, it's kind of supposed to be England in the War of the Roses, and
but
so you would have to travel overseas to meet anyone that's not
They should have been a little more cultural.
Well, yeah, I think our only people of color for like season 1 were barbarian hordes,
right?
Like unthinking, raping hordes, and then
I mean, it was the thing they do.
And then, of course, you had all the slavers, but then we freed the slaves. But then, I don't know. I mean, people of color, there weren't a lot of...
Imagine if they put a bunch of white dudes there.
As the rampaging
Actually, that would have been great.
It should be the opposite. We should have a colorful, let's just say, colorful medieval kind of fantasy show where all the bad guys are bumbling white people.
Yes.
Why don't we do that? Someone needs to produce that show.
You and I will get on that.
I mean, I have a credit card we could use for some of the production costs, I guess.
We'll max out our credit cards.
Yeah.
I'll make the costumes and kill myself.
I was thinking more like Tyler Perry. I mean, the man has like $10-20 billion. Like, he should produce something like that. Give black and other people of color, give those nerds something to really nerd out about that represents them. Mm-hmm. 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 So
now,
there we go.
Okay. Say you did that.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not going to. This is going to be too long. let's move on. We'll talk about
those
this
were my headlines. You can say it.
Well, I was going to say you did that.
It's a podcast.
Do you base, say you're all African American cast, do you base them in the same like geographical type of area, or do you stay with their homeland? Geographical
like
type of
a
area?
medieval epic set in Africa. You could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you would certainly have a lot of, you could do something out of history easily and turn it into something fantastical with magic and shit, because white people came into Africa
That would be really
fucked
cool.
a lot of stuff up. That would be cool. We did have Lovecraft Country that was not Africans, but African Americans, right? And in this fantastical setting, and that was amazing. Speaking of which, this wasn't even on my headline list, but it was heartbreaking. Within the last week, it has officially been announced that there will be no Lovecraft Country season 2. And they were working on it and talking about it. Misha Green, the creator, the showrunner of Lovecraft Country, she posted something on Twitter that was like a hypothetical map of like, if you fast forward it a little bit past the original series, like this is what America was going to look like. And it was like the Southeast was all black people, and then there was a huge indigenous area that covered like half of the United States, starting in like the northwest corner, and then there was this little strip of whiteness in the middle of the country. It was interesting. It would have been a really cool show, but it's not going to happen, and I'm sad.
Did they say why?
No, it just did not get greenlit for a season
sucks.
2. Yeah. I don't know why HBO would do that, because they really...
Maybe it wasn't popular enough.
We don't know what the ratings were. That's true. And you do kind of have to go on that, but it's also...
But,
like,
if people aren't readers and they didn't get the backstory of it, and a lot of people aren't or don't. They wouldn't read H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people do not read H.P. Lovecraft.
And if you did read, sometimes, I'm like, he was totally racist. If you did read him and you really liked his writings, maybe you're racist. Therefore, you wouldn't watch this show.
I mean, it depends on
because
which
you'd be
of his
all,
writings
fuck
you
that.
Look, that is all true stuff.
So
and
maybe
we don't
it wasn't
know what the ratings were.
high enough ratings.
But it was an amazing, black-driven show. And I do think that there is some level of like, we're making all this money, we're producing all this stuff. As long as it wasn't like you and I were the only people that watched it, like you, me, and Jay Sarge, like that's it. If it wasn't just the three of us watching the show, like because we need that black nerdy content, right? We need, like, the world needs that. I mean, I enjoyed watching it. I was not represented on the screen, and so I can't, but it's okay. And people of color are always having to watch nerdy content that does not represent them on the screen. So give us more of that.
Yes, please.
Fudge HBO.
They will.
Well, I hope they come up with something new.
The wall has been broken.
And the wheel.
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
the wheel. Daenerys broke that.
Are we going to talk about Handmaid's Tale now?
Are you ready?
Ready.
You're so ready.
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do this. The season finale for Handmaid's Tale, with at least one more season to go. Handmaid's Tale Season 4, Episode 10, The Wilderness. I think that might be the only episode in the season that had a 2-word title. They were all, progress, testimony, home, vows, Chicago. This one was The Wilderness. I was ready to, as I always prepare my notes in advance to make sections for like, here's the Gilead stuff, here's the Canada stuff. For a while I was separating, the June Canada from the Fred and Serena. All of this stuff happened just in Canada. We got nothing, and I was disappointed. Nothing from Aunt Lydia. We saw Commander Lawrence, but still, our cliffhanger for the Aunt Lydia storyline was a couple other aunts frowning at her. That makes me kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know she's going to have a big part in season 5. I can feel it coming. All right. So let's just go through. We had some flashbacks in this episode and there were a couple times, so I'll just mention it now, of June with Fred at Jezebel's putting on her act with some voiceover explaining it, but like, you have to make him believe that you're into him, that kind of thing.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And that all, of course, comes to a head at the end of the episode, but we did get some flashbacks at that. The episode started with one of those. Right. So June's at the courthouse. This is after she was like, I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. Yeah. So she's going to give a statement to the court. He's there to just
sounded like
kinda...
Morty just a second ago. That was
God damn it, Rick.
Yeah.
not good at speaking that high. So Tuello's there. She's mad about that, and he's trying to be like pragmatic about the situation. Fred has already told them a lot of information of great value, but she's going to make a statement to the international court. They're not even there. Like they've had representatives on the ground this whole time, and they're just not even in town. So it seems kind of futile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucked. Yeah. That was a big letdown for her.
Mm-hmm. And she gets home. Rita and Moira are both there, and that's where she gets the news that Fred's almost gone. He's leaving next week, or by the end of the week, for Geneva to have a hearing, and then after that, they're planning on releasing him into the wild, wherever that may be. If I was Fred, I mean, I don't know what they didn't really say what the plan was. You'd need witness protection, kind of like an anonymity, right?
Yes, I mean, especially him. But then again, people are starting to like him, so
that's true. He and Serena together were able to start stirring dissent.
Right. And the fact that they're going to be free means it's going to happen in Canada. They're going to start building an uprising. But
Gilead could send an assassin.
Why would they? They want Canada to be Gilead.
Well, they want more places to fall, but he betrayed them. He told...
No, I mean, I have a feeling that he's still, even though he wants to build his own, he wants to be the top guy building a new Gilead or something.
Yeah, he'd like to do it again. That's true. I don't know. But they seem to think that if they went back to Gilead, they would be murdered. At least Serena thinks that.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know what the plan is. Not that it really matters. Wink, wink. So we get a bit where Fred's talking to a panel of court-appointed note takers or whatever, questioners, I guess. And he's lying. He's not even giving them accurate information. He denies that he used to frequent Jezebel's. They're asking about one particular woman that disappeared there.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't know. I mean, I think she hung out with the head commander dude or whatever, but I'm sure anything that happened to her was, purely accidental. No one would ever be cruel. Just bullshit. So he's bullshitting them. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Serena gets all uppity and is like, you better have them refer to Fred as commander, and he needs better internet access, and we need a house with security.
Why hasn't the fact that they murder people all the time come up? Like, it's all about this rape and torture and stuff. Yet, I mean, they have witnesses of everybody standing there around the pool watching them be forced, that girl to be forced with her boyfriend, Nick's ex-wife.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Forced to drown themselves in a pool.
Incidentally, a minor, a child bride.
Yeah, everybody's watching this child.
Right.
Who you forced to get married. And
Serena was there for that. Although she isn't interested in giving out information.
Yeah. Why are they not bringing that up? Like, a couple of the handmaids that have been freed, I think, were there too. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they've interviewed, other escapees for sure. These are good questions. I guess the first thing that pops into my head is like, well, what government isn't murdering dissidents? Like, there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Our government? I mean, not on a regular basis, at least. The military part, yes.
People disappear. But I'm just saying.
This is just people. These are just people.
Well, they're people that didn't follow the law. Okay, I guess maybe that's it. Because, like, on an international level, you're allowed to have a death penalty for people that break your laws.
Oh, God. All right.
Although then can you have a law that says rape's okay? I don't know. I guess that's just where they decided to draw the line. That's a good question.
They do have laws like that in places that say, yes, it's okay for your man to rape his wife and such. They probably have that in America somewhere.
But not in Geneva.
No, certainly not.
Where the ICC is. Yeah. Tuello is asking Serena, like, why are you still with this dude? I was kind of hoping you'd try to kiss her. But
yeah, he seems like he has a thing for her.
And I kind of think she has a thing for him.
I do, too.
But she's never going to admit it. He just needs to go for it.
Maybe someday they'll get together.
She might have more time on her hands soon. Wink, wink. Emily and June have a little moment talking about Fred and how June wants to let go, but she just can't. And then she has more flashbacks, and then she decides to do something about it. So she goes to visit Fred at his prison. I am firstly just shocked beyond reason that she was allowed to.
Right. It's weird.
Who's controlling that?
Left them in there alone.
Yeah. Well, the guard was watching until she's like, I'm fine. This dude's not going to hurt me, I guess. Like, that was her thing. And he probably can't. He's never really come across as a physically capable. Right. She could hurt him. That's the thing. We know that she's enraged. She threatened to kill Tuello.
Oh, yeah.
I
will kill you with all of her spit coming out of her mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Not you. She should be on a list. Like,
watch list.
Here's the people that can't visit Fred. June. And that's it. That's the only, maybe Luke. You put those two people on the list.
He's under trial and they're letting just his accuser walk in.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that wouldn't happen in America. Maybe it's not a Canadian
in Canada
thing
either.
Canadians are so nice and trusting, right? Okay.
Or maybe they have cameras in there that they're just watching, see what happens, see what's said.
So Fred is still in denial as they're talking. Like, he does not understand that he's done anything wrong, obviously.
Gotta believe the lie.
But he appreciates that when she was testifying, she had to phrase things in her own way to make her story right for her husband and for the judge.
Right.
He's kind of like forgiving her.
Well, and he's pretending like they had something between them.
Yeah, he's in denial about that too.
He still feels like they had something.
Wouldn't that be, I mean.
She's a good pretender.
But what level of delusion to hear her in front of the ICC going off about how he raped her, what an awful abusive human being he was, and throw the book at him, to just be sitting there being like, oh, she still likes me.
He's a normal man.
Really? Come on. No.
Yeah.
A normal man.
Normal man.
Would be that delusional.
Somebody that's delusional enough to let murder and all of this stuff happen. Yes.
All right. Well, I don't know any men like that in my life, but
because
maybe you've known some.
That's like the man that feels like no means yes.
Well, yeah, that's a rate. What, are you saying that most men are like that?
I'm saying there are a lot of men that are like that.
All right. Depressing. He does express some regret for her previous discomforts. Let me just lean into that one. Discomforts. That's all he ever did. Sometimes he made her uncomfortable, and it's embarrassing. And he gets it now as a father to be himself.
Oh my God.
The thought of having his son taken away from him is unimaginable. So we're sorry for your discomfort, June. So she starts to act relieved, puts a little smile on. She needs drink. And then they talk about Offred. He misses Offred. She misses Offred. They miss Offred together.
She starts pretending again.
Uh-huh. And he's so fucked in the head.
He's like, ooh, I'm going to get a boner now.
Again, like, is that an average man?
Yes.
Oh, come on. Am I an average man? Would I fall for that?
I don't know. Would you?
I don't know. You tell me. You know men so well.
I'm going to have to set up some kind of sting and figure this out.
A sting involving someone that I actively hate or actively hates me coming onto me?
Yes. Okay. Well, it could be me. I'll make you hate me.
Okay.
If you don't already. And then
Jesus.
I'll come on to you and we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll report back in at least a couple weeks and let you guys know how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good timing.
I don't know if this is related to the scene we just saw, if Luke drove her to the prison to visit Fred or whatever, but the next scene we get is Fred and June driving at night, and he's talking about, we're going to need some security guards on us and stuff, but she just decides to say out of nowhere that she's going to put Fred on the wall. Meaning death. She's going to hang him or something, right? Okay, so she has a plan. She goes to find Tuello, and he starts to lose it. She interrupts his morning run. She knows where he lives.
Yeah, why is he... Like, I haven't seen him like this before.
No, yeah.
What's going on with him?
I guess he really loves his morning run. Well, maybe he's afraid for his life because she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons he might get upset.
Oh, sure.
He thinks he's doing his job, but she says she needs Fred to get what he deserves and just listen to me. So he does. And we don't know everything they talk about, but they wind up taking a ride to, it looks like the DMZ between North and South Korea, like some kind of little zone where there's guards on both sides, Canadian or American, and Gileadian. Gileadian? And they get to meet in this old, like, cafe shop or something. And Lawrence is there. Yay! We like him. So, Lawrence just wants to get Fred home.
Yes.
And he offers a trade for Fred, 22 women who had worked for the resistance. Tuello says he'll take it to his boss. And Lawrence warns June that whatever happens to Fred, it will not be enough for her. What do you think? Let's pretend you don't even know what's going to happen to Fred, but let's say she finds a way to get Fred on that wall. Will that heal her psychologically? She thinks it will.
Well, only if she can see it for herself. Only if she can guarantee that that's going to happen, because you never know with this bunch of people.
Someday I'm going to have to...
You can't trust anybody.
Well, I'm just talking about the psychology of it, and I'm thinking like, well, we know a nerdy psychologist. Maybe we could ask her sometime, Dr. Janina Scarlett. We got to get her back on the show, because I would like to know the answer to that question. Like, if can revenge, just maybe in general, but specifically in this case, can getting revenge, can murdering someone who traumatized you heal you?
That's a great question.
Make sure I don't forget about this. We got to
seek out people that have murdered their traumatizer.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
We'll go to the jail.
I mean, I'm thinking
about
the
local jail.
Well, there's the whole series about that, like the women who snapped or whatever, right?
Yes, there is.
I wonder how they're all doing. All right, we'll do some research. Maybe talk to a psychologist. See what we can think of.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, June's having a chit chat with her friends. She tells them that she wants Fred to be afraid because she was afraid for so long. She wants him scared to death. And this brings us to, we're not quite there yet. Fred's getting ready for his trip to Geneva. Serena sends him off. They talk about how they can Zoom with each other during the trip. I don't know why you'd want to, but whatever, Serena. But then she gets busy on a conference call. Oh yeah, no, this is where it starts. And he's on his way out. He's getting into that car, and Tuello intercepts him and says, "You're no longer going to Geneva. You no longer have a lawyer. The ICC rejected your bargain, and you're coming with me." Fred seemed mad.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. "You can't do this to me. Don't you know who I am?" Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we get to hear how that was pulled off. Like, how did he pull that off? Or was it all a ruse to begin with? Like, was he never going to Geneva? Was all that a story?
No, I think it was June's interference.
But how did June has no pull with...
Well, she had a better idea, right? They're going to free 22 people.
Did they... Okay,
that was the offer.
As Lawrence, I thought they didn't make that deal.
Well, Tuello couldn't make the deal himself, but he promised he would take it to his boss. And
okay.
I believe it has been mentioned that his boss is a woman. Maybe that helps. You can free 22 women to get rid of a guy that rapes and kills a lot of women. Maybe that stirred something in the boss. It was like, you're right. We can disappear this guy. Maybe.
I don't know.
Although that also kind of feels like it would be a violation of some kind of international law.
Yeah.
You're messing with the court's plea deal.
Right. People are going to be questioning, where did he go?
Maybe.
They'll say,
or maybe they had a way. Well, there's got to be some conversation about it, in season 5. We got to get some.
I hope so.
Okay, so there's a meetup on a bridge at the border between Tuello and Commander Lawrence. But Fred seems like, he's ready to talk his way out of the situation. He does accuse Tuello of coveting Serena. So again, those two might have a future together, right? We're teasing it all over the place.
I guess he sees it.
The first moment they met, he flirted with her in a hotel bar.
He did.
Uh-huh. And from then on, there's always been this kind of will they, won't they tension. She might have an opening soon. So to speak.
available spot.
Yeah, we know from her flashback stories, her and Fred's like origin story, they like to fuck.
Yeah.
They were passionate.
Right.
They would pray first, but then they would go crazy on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sure, Commander Lawrence is there to meet them. He says, I'm glad to have you back, buddy. Fred, it's so nice to see you. But Nick is also there. He comes out second, all secret-like. And he says the eyes will take the prisoner into custody. And Lawrence is like, is there anything I can do? I just love how you're acting all concerned. Like it's not the plan. I loved it. Like, and do you even need to act for Fred's sake? Or
right. He should have just turned around and walked away. But it adds a little bit of a dig and a funny moment.
It is a good way to keep Fred guessing and keep him afraid if your goal is to scare him to death.
Sure.
Yeah. So Nick takes control. Fred keeps calling him son, which was kind of creepy and gross.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely starting to panic, and they take him out into the woods. At one point, Fred stops moving, and Nick just slaps him to jar him back into functioning. And look, June's there. Weird.
Yeah.
She comes up and starts tongue-kissing Nick.
Yeah, that was weird.
I wrote this in quotes.
Tongue-kissing.
Well, I didn't write that in quotes. But just, like big kid, not just like, mwah,
Sure.
But I put this in quotes, and I can't remember, but I think it might have been exactly what Fred said, which was, what the fuck is this? He does not understand why they're making out. She uncuffs him, makes him choose between a gun and something, and we couldn't tell what that something was. We rewound it a couple times. It was something shiny. And then we figured out it's a whistle. She blows the whistle, and a whole bunch of women appear, and this turns into, like, almost like how the Night Stalker was captured. Like the community, like someone noticed him and started yelling, and then he starts running, and the whole community of people is chasing him, and they beat him down.
Is that
until
what
the
happened?
cops come. That's what happened to the Night Stalker. Yeah.
Sweet.
There was also something similar in a Monty Python movie, I think The Meaning of Life, where a man had to choose the method of his own execution, and he was chased by topless women until he fell off a cliff. So, potato. So she says, run. There's a long chase. He falls. He gets up. They're running. I think she fell once. I don't know. She delivers the first official beating, and then Emily joins in, but not everybody's joining in. Some people are just there to watch. And I wrote down, he's probably not getting out of this, because I didn't know. Things happen. But when they walk out of the forest, we don't see what happened. We just see him getting beaten. But I did make a note that as she emerges from the forest, she is wearing a long coat that is bright red. It is handmade red.
Yes.
Do you think that was intentional on her part as a character, or just the show wanted to do something symbolic?
I don't know.
Damn.
Both, of course.
All right, fine. We get a little flash to Serena sitting alone in her cell waiting for a Zoom to begin. She misses Fred, I guess, or something. And, it's mail time. She's going to get her mail for the day. All sorts of presents and letters and things from people that love her around the world. But then they didn't screen the mail in advance. Again, very weird prison. But the guy picks up an envelope labeled as Serena, and it feels kind of funny. So he cuts it open right there on the spot, dumps out the contents, and it's a finger with a ring on it. And he starts screaming and just runs off. Oh my God, what a guard. June gets home, still quite bloody, and goes to play with Nicole. She got some blood on Nicole's face while they were snuggling. That was cute. Luke wakes up, seems a little confused. She says she's sorry. He collapses. What is in it for him on this one? Is he opposed to the idea that Fred, what's his name? Fred, Hampton? No, that's not it. What is his name? Fred, whatever his fucking name. I don't care anymore. That he should die? Like, obviously he figured out, like, she must have killed Fred somehow. But why would that bother him? Is he just a peacenik?
Well, okay, I'm trying to put myself in his place and imagine that I used to have this one person who was not a murderer, and now I have this new person who is a murderer and putting herself in jeopardy of being indicted or whatever, in trouble at the very least, and our family, instead of just moving on with your life and doing things the right way. Maybe that's what it is.
You do hear that killing a person changes you once you take a life.
Has she killed anybody?
Well, actually, yeah, she has. She killed at least one guard, but she shot him in the head with a gun. She was defending herself.
Yeah, that's not the same.
This was very much an act of aggression.
This is
about as aggressive as you can get. Premeditated.
Premeditated murder, right.
Very, very much so. She enjoyed scaring him to death. Like, she enjoyed making him afraid and fearing for his life. She was getting off. She's probably getting kind of horny right now. If only
she does seem to get off on that type of thing.
Why didn't someone let her wash off her blood first? I would have gone home clean.
Maybe she didn't want to.
That's right. But then as he collapses, she says she just wants 5 minutes with Nicole and then she'll go. So what does that mean now? They're done? She does kind of want Nick more, I guess, but she probably can't have him.
I don't know. This is very weird.
Is this the end? Is this the end for Luke and June? Tune in a couple years from now and we'll find out. And finally, we get to see what happened to Fred. He is hanging on a wall, not the wall, but a wall in the middle of the forest, some collapsed building with the Bastardes quote written in blood around him. And that was the end of the fucking season. That was a good ending.
It was a good ending.
You don't get a lot of those these days. It's always about the cliffhanger. This didn't really have a cliffhanger, except will they, won't they with Tuello and Serena. Yeah. And will they, won't they with June and Luke, I guess. Will they make it? Those are...
What's going to happen with Gilead now that he's gone? Lawrence is in charge.
Lawrence and Nick are running the show. Nick does it.
Are things going to get good?
And Nick's a commander, but he's also the head of the eyes. Well, they can't just make things good until they...
Right, because not everybody's good.
They have to get rid of all the other commanders and replace them with people that are cool.
And where do you find those people, right?
I don't know. You have to use some heavy screening to figure out who's not a zealot, or like who's pretending to be religious and believe in Gilead and who's not.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. But they can do it. Lawrence knows a lot of stuff. He can find the right people. But then we also don't really understand Lawrence. We know that Lawrence doesn't want things to be like they are, but he was at some point enough of a religious zealot to help make this shit happen. He believed in it.
Sent people to the colonies.
Yeah, sent people to the colonies. Helped institute the Handmaid program that he would come to regret. Like, he did all those things, so does he want to tear it all down? Or does he just want to cool it down? Like, does he want Lydia to just be a nicer person but still train handmaids? Or does he want to get rid of the Handmaid program? We don't really know. I thought
that he was expecting Lydia to beat the shit out of Janine. You know?
Yeah, we don't really know that either.
I know.
Because we don't know if he knows anything about Janine. He just knows that she was traveling with June once.
Yep.
These are all good questions. I guess we're going to have to wait a long-ass time for the answer, because I'm sure they haven't even started filming the next season yet. So, at least a year before we find out. Maybe longer. This show does have the advantage of not a lot of special effects.
Yes.
No dragons.
It should be just the writing and the filming.
You know, I was just flashing through my head. I have a list of all the shows that we either follow or are supposed to follow. I know we were planning on checking out a couple shows that we haven't watched yet. We did get a recommendation for one called The Underground Railroad. Well, I guess I can take Lovecraft Country off our list. But as I was writing these things out, I just realized that what's not on the list is the fact that Amazon's working on a Fallout series. We don't know when that's coming, but it's headed up by the people behind Westworld. We got a lot of potential shows in our future. A lot. Anyway. But this is the end of this for now. We've got a year before we see more Handmaid. We've got close to a year before we have any chance of seeing Game of Thrones stuff.
Witcher.
And The Witcher might be coming soon. I don't know. I think they might have wrapped up production on it.
Yes. I
Did
think
they?
so too.
Okay. So now they have to do special effects.
Now, yeah.
Editing. That all takes a long time.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that we'll get that in 2021.
I thought we got a release date or time frame.
Well, you know what? Well, I'm going to say Oh, okay. The last time I looked it up, it was late. It was speculated as late 2021. So it should happen this year before Game of Thrones.
And it's almost late 2021. We're in
mid 2021. Yeah. We've started. Yeah. July. We've started the second half.
Maybe just
maybe they'll announce the release date at WitcherCon, which is later of the week that we are recording this in. And we'll try to find that news and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Yep. So let's build up some headlines, release dates, what we're going to do next, and we'll be back as soon as all my family clears out of town. We'll come back with an update on that shit.
Yes, we will. All right.
All right. Until then, Excelsior. I got nothing.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Jeff.
I can be reached at Jennifer@potothrones.com.
Oh, hey, look at you.
Or at Kid Free Weekend on Twitter.
Or me, Jeff at potothrones.com or at Pod of Thrones on Twitter. And, I don't know, Mazel Tov to my son, Jonathan. L'chaim. Tradition. 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 Tradition.